Hello and welcome to Tech Talk, where you'll hear the latest in technology and investment trends directly from the trendsetters. I'm your host, Fritz Spencer, member of EisnerAmper's Technology and Life Sciences practice, and with me today is special guest Julia Whippo, CEO and co-founder of Moneyball.ai, where they've made the world's first full-stack AI investment bank for primary placements. Now, before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to EisnerAmper wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also find us on YouTube at EisnerAmper. Today's insightful conversation could influence the next steps for your startup or fund. Julia, thank you so much for joining me today. Super excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, Fritz, thank you so much for having me here. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, let's get you introduced. In 2 to 3 sentences, could you explain Moneyball.ai's mission to our audience?
Sure. So as mentioned, Moneyball.ai is the world's first full-stack AI investment bank for primary placements. What does that mean? It means we're making it faster and easier than ever before to find private investments you care about if you're an investor, and find the right investors if you're a founder or operator. We believe access to capital shouldn't be dependent upon who you know. With data and AI, we can unlock that access to capital that's needed to grow. And so more problems will be solved faster. The world will be a better place. We always say the right teams with the right resources will save the world, and we're looking to make that a reality.
At EisnerAmper, we are creative problem solvers that take a 360-degree approach focusing on you. We're an award-winning firm with decades of experience. EisnerAmper. Let's get you ready.
I love the mission, and I love that you focused immediately on the problem that you're solving. So let's dive into that problem. What was the specific challenge in early stage fundraising that you're aiming to solve?
Yeah, basically, and this can be somewhat controversial, is fundraising as we know it is broken. So on one side of the aisle, you've got founders that are stuck between 2 bad options, right? Spending hundreds of hours on social engineering warm intros or blast spamming their decks into the black holes that are cold inboxes. And investment banking exists to support later stage companies in accessing the capital, but there's no equivalent for early stage founders. And yet venture makes up 10% of the annual deal flow in private markets. So at the same time, as an investor, you're either investing in thousands of hours developing and nurturing your network, or you find yourself gatekept out of the best deals and without a way to find the deals that you may uniquely care about or that you may be uniquely positioned to provide strategic support for. And so we're taking a unique approach to turn all of that on its head.
Great. So it sounds like it's a platform to help investors and founders meet each other. How does your approach kind of stand out from other players in the field and that are building something similar?
Yeah, so we actually don't really think of ourselves as a platform. We think of ourselves as a network, as a social glue. And at Moneyball.ai, we've worked really hard to create an experience for investors that's delightful. Current platforms either provide a massive catalog of deals where investors need to use a bunch of cognition to go through and find what they care about, or they're blasted emails into their, just by subscribing to any network, getting just way too much things that they just don't care about. And neither of these approaches really take into account the individual investors' preferences or experiences. So we've built the world's first AI investment banker who gets to know each of our investors personally, what makes them tick, what they care about, and where they want to put their hard-earned money to work. So they get personalized access to high-quality, off-the-market deals that are simply not yet in their inboxes just because they're not in their existing networks. And because of this personalized experience, the more an investor engages with the platform, the better our model gets to know them as an individual and the better deals they see that are a good fit for them. So the experience is constantly improving over time.
That sounds incredible. And it sounds like you're building out a really full-depth tech stack. And I want to dive into the technology. What is the core technology behind Moneyball.ai, and how does it solve the misalignment between these founders and investors that you so often see?
Yeah, so first, our AI investment banker, Mo Money, or his name's Mo. Mo Money. He's a multimodal AI agent working in concert with many other AI agents, AI workflows, and our proprietary AI matchmaking models. He sources, matches, and delivers these high-quality investment opportunities. And now the way that our approach is really different because we recognize humans exchange information in unstructured format all the time via phone calls, emails, texting all day, right? So our AI does that same way, captures the unstructured information via calls, email, text, parses it, labels it, stores it, and recalls it as needed. This is essentially what a human banker does, right? But we're able to do it at an order of magnitude, more relationships, more data points, faster pattern recognition than any human could do on their own.
Wow, that's incredible. I would love to meet Mo Money one day.
Yeah, give him a call. He's ready to chat.
That's awesome. And so I'm assuming you're dealing with a lot of volume of data, and you're using data to do a lot of this, I guess, algorithmic work and building out your model. What are the data points that matter to you, and how do you streamline fundraising based on these traits and data points?
Yeah, so our matchmaking models actually use a combination of first-party data, third-party data, and behavioral data to generate the matches. So first-party, what the investor says they want, right? Third-party, we enrich that data with public and private data sources and see what it says about what they care about. And then their behavioral data. Over time, as investors engage with the deals, we start to learn more about what deals they like and want through the ones that they're engaging with, through the way that they're engaging with the opportunities in the network. So the first step in the flywheel is gathering the first-party data, creating those investor profiles, enriching it. And when we have great investor profiles, it's easy to match deals, which then drives liquidity and insights around investing behavior, which then allows us to get more investor profiles. And the flywheel continues. So we're using these first placements to learn how to predict private investor behavior in a way that's never been done before. We'll then use that data and that model to then expand into additional asset classes outside of venture, like infrastructure and private credit deals. Opportunities that historically have been great vehicles for building generational wealth for family offices, but have actually been restricted to individual investors. We're bringing that access to the market. Yeah, we're essentially laying the foundation for this unified global placement market that every capital seeker comes to and every investor sources deals from.
Wow. So there's a lot of aspects that are being, bundled into this Moneyball AI project that you guys are building, your startup. Tell me a little bit more about the team and who you have working around you. It sounds like you have to have a lot of different expertises to get all this work done.
Yes, and we're taking it iteratively, right? One step at a time. The biggest issue that we find in the markets, as anybody who's ever gone to raise capital, if you're a fund manager or a founder, is the distribution problem, or an investment bank is the distribution problem. So we're taking it one step at a time. So right now, my co-founder, Michelle Bayon, is amazing, multi-time exited founder in AI behavioral profiles and analytics, and then partnered with AI engineers to build Mo and this distribution network. We're also starting to speak with data scientists to perfect our models, and we'll be homing in on that as the next kind of big push, big phase. Right now, we believe that focusing on that push into making a more delightful experience for the investors using AI is the biggest challenging problem and the most lucrative problem to solve. So that's where we're starting.
Great. I'm so glad you brought up what's next, because that's where I want to go with, every startup has its milestones to meet. What's the next milestone for Moneyball.ai? Like whether it's product development, partnerships, or just scaling this thing out?
Yeah, our next milestone is basically proving Mo works at scale. We've already had our first investments in the network. We're seeing 25% month-over-month funder growth. We're already seeing 3 to 4 times better meeting rates than traditional investment banking. But the true value in the network is unlocked for the capital seekers when we hit that critical mass of investors. We've already onboarded over 260 million of investment capacity into the network, and we're growing that daily to our first 1,000 investors by providing this experience where the investors really feel heard, seen, and understood.
Great. And you touched on, what I would call there's some key, KPIs. What measures success for you with Moneyball? What's the number that you see tick and go, okay, we're doing the right thing here?
At the end of the day, it's checks written. Yeah. It also feels good knowing that we're connecting people who would have never met without otherwise seeing each other and establishing those relationships across even oceans. We've got family offices in the Middle East who are seeking and getting introduced to fintech founders in the US, for example, and that would have never been possible before. So that feels really good. But at the end of the day, ultimately, we're here to help solve the problem of more efficient capital placement. And it feels so good when both sides make that connection that they would have never otherwise happened. And we see that this check's written.
I love that. I like a nice tangible KPI, something that you can see it on the dashboard and go, okay, we're making a big difference for these folks that are investing into our platform. And speaking about investing into your platform and kind of those milestones, you mentioned scaling out your tech. What do you need to get there? Are you guys raising a fund? Are a series rather, or are you bootstrapping? What's the startup journey been like, and where are you going next?
Yeah. So we're actually really early on the path, on the journey. So we're at the point where we're going to be opening our pre-seed round, our first institutional round later this year to invite other investors who see this problem and know that there has to be a better way. Bring in folks who really believe in our mission. We've got a unique opportunity, of course, right now where we're inviting any private investors who want to experience a better way to connect with opportunities they care about, to be some of the first to join the world's first AI-run distribution network. Give Mo a call, tell him what you're looking for, and then sit back while he delivers deals you care about straight to your inbox for free. We're also connecting with ecosystem partners like boutique investment banks and investment networks who want to white label Mo to unlock deeper personalization within their own networks. So really people who are getting that there has to be a better way and bringing that private capital markets really into the 21st century.
That must be really exciting, especially as you're building this out and as you onboard startups who are also building out their own products and services. It must resonate a lot with them, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and they must have, a lot of mutual respect there, I can imagine. I'd like to move on to, a piece of our agenda, which is basically something that happens, I feel, in almost every startup, which is a pivot. Normally, day one doesn't end up like day 365. So tell me, has there been some pivotal moments in the journey of Moneyball?
Yes, actually. So we have always had this mission of reducing frictions between early stage investors and founders. And at first, we made a deal memo generation AI tool, and then so did 1,000 other people. Then we dove straight into, because we know that the team is the number one reason for startup failure and startup success. Yet it's the least sophisticated part of the diligence process. So we actually developed AI to generate predictions on team quality, founder and team quality. We found that investors were really intrigued by this idea, but not quite ready to believe what the AI was telling them. So we ended up pivoting. So the adoption was there, but it was like pushing a boulder up a hill. So we pivoted to the new model where we're essentially an AI, full stack AI investment bank, solving that distribution problem, creating that network layer between private capital markets, private capital seekers, and private capital investors.
Got it. So there was a lot more, less, I guess, human feeling involved in matching traits and matching on repeat history, historical data, rather than that gut feeling someone gets when they meet a founder and go, "This is the jockey. I don't care about the horse."
I mean, it's both. It's definitely both. And to complicate things further, there's actually a part of it that's, what do I think other people think about this jockey and horse that drives investment decisions? But we're really finding that even just the way that AI can manage and nurture this volume of connections, like the average human can have nurture and maintain about 1,000 meaningful relationships at a time. So AI, with Mo, he can manage an order of magnitude of these connections. So for example, we have the founder of Ancestry.com, loves our platform, loves our network, is getting connected with investors who would have never seen him or known him. And he's got a startup now that's not necessarily a good fit for most VC funds. It's a civic tech. There just aren't a lot of institutional investors who invest in civic tech. But it's solving a major world problem, bringing major value to the lives of millions of people. And if the limiting factor, if even somebody like him who has a massive network, and his network is a limiting factor of his ability to bring good into the world, then really using AI to unlock that distribution at scale by solving that fragmentation and the inefficiencies of private capital markets through the AI outperforming basically any human.
Exactly. There's only so many hours in the day that a human can focus on something, and taking that off of their plate to let them work on, building out something that matters instead of diving into the minutia of details. They know they have to do their own due diligence, but if someone can, or something, or Mo, right, can help them do that, now we've just made their time more valuable. So I'd like to close, if we could, with some advice to other founders who may be navigating the complexities of fundraising and investor alignment. There's so much information out there on how they should align to make these networks connect and be meaningful. You've been living this, so some advice to those people out there.
Yeah. First, I would say, let's be honest, most fundraising advice out there is BS. And I'm not saying that I have the answers either. So my first bit of advice is always take fundraising advice with a grain of salt and find what works for you. And next, I'd say actually question the assumption that you need investors. A lot of founders think, I need an investor. I would say, don't if you don't need to. Always prioritize revenue before fundraising. Cash is king, and cash from customers is 1,000,000 times more valuable than cash from investors. And it gives you the choice of bringing in the investors and the right investors, the freedom. Because they say that in fundraising or getting an investor is a marriage, but with no divorce.
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to be married no matter what. I've had, CEOs come to me before, and, we work with over 100 to 150 startups on a monthly basis, providing fractional back offices. And when they take that first check, they realize that they are married. And I remember specifically a CEO saying, I woke up in bed one morning and it wasn't my wife anymore. It was my investor. And he had that flash of almost like a dream moment. And he said, this is life-changing, and I don't know if I like this. So we always like to explore every option that we can with our founders to say, do you really need to bring in an investor? Maybe, there's non-dilutive equity, there's traditional financing, there's a lot of options. So
exactly. Now, some business models, you do need capital, like marketplaces tend to need certain level of volume before you reach break even. And in that case, I would advise, if you do need to raise capital, remember that fundraising is sales. So in the eyes of an investor, your company is essentially a financial product that offers the potential for outsized returns. And you're competing with tens, if not hundreds of thousands, other similar financial products, i.e. startups out there. So the number one thing you can do to increase your odds of attracting capital actually isn't networking, like everyone says. It's learning how to sell. Sell your vision, sell yourself, sell your traction. And if I may, a couple of resources that I have found really helpful, happy to recommend. Check out the books, Pitch Anything. And my oldest secret is the Little Red Book of Sales Answers was a total game changer for me.
Awesome. That is some priceless information that I can guarantee our listeners will take advantage of. Well, Julia, I want to thank you so much for having this conversation with me today. It's been a blast.
Thank you, Fritz. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And for those who'd like to follow Moneyball.ai's journey, what's the best way to connect with you and the company?
Well, you can connect with us on LinkedIn or with Mo. Give him a call.
Of course. And a special thanks to our listeners for tuning into Tech Talk, the entrepreneurs and innovators who turn to EisnerAmper for assurance, tax, advisory, and outsourcing solutions to help propel their business forward. Again, subscribe to EisnerAmper's podcast to listen to more Tech Talk episodes, or visit EisnerAmper.com for more tech news that you can use.